Hi, everyone.
Good evening, folks.
How are you doing?
I am doing good. I just want to tell everybody good evening. I know it's going to be a late night for us, but it's all the life of being a podcaster.
That's true. Very true.
I'm excited about this guest. How about you?
Very much so. And of course, the fact that he's, in paradise, it's even better.
Love that we have done different countries,
Yep.
UK, Australia, now Hawaii, what states? Hawaii is a state, not a country,
Yes,
a state,
right.
but still, it's almost like a state. You have to
Right.
go
It's
ocean.
go over the ocean. That's right. No,
Yeah.
Hawaii is beautiful. Been to several of the islands. The only ones I haven't been to are Kauai and obvious Lanai, and I don't think you can get on Lanai anymore. But Maui and he's Oahu. Oahu is very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love Oahu. It's a great, great island.
Yes. It's going to be exciting. So, let me tell you in the audience who he is and what he's all about. His name is Ray Khan. He is a podcast creator, producer, writer, musician, and composer based in Honolulu. I can't Hawaii. Having survived a career as an IT professional, his passion is to tell personal stories through words and music that remove, excite, and inspire others, just as he has been inspired by the lifelong love of film, books, and music. His most recent podcast is with the horror and comedy audio drama Paranormal Investigations Hawaii, featuring the adventures of Harry Wong. So let's go ahead and bring him on and pick his brain.
Absolutely. Hi, Ray.
Aloha. Aloha. Thank you
Aloha.
for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening. We appreciate it greatly.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. So, one thing I like to ask you is about the night marchers, because that's one story I have heard over and over again about the Hawaii's most famous ghost story. So, according to the legend, what do you know about the night marchers?
So, the night marchers are stories that I've heard ever since I was a child here in Hawaii. It's something that is woven within the fabric of Hawaii uh, culture. And everybody who's lived here for a while has heard a story about the night marchers, whether they've encountered some or they've heard tell from someone they know who's encountered it. But basically, these are the spiritual relatives of ancient Hawaiian warriors and kings who have a specific locations where they march at certain times of the month. And so it's a sacred path that they march through. And if you encounter them, you have to uh, lie flat. You cannot look at them, and you be quiet and hope they bypass you. So this is something I've heard told, since I was a child, and usually it's somewhere that's a bit more remote. And outside of the regular city limits and all that, and there are specific sacred areas that they march. But yeah, that's the basic uh, story behind the night marchers.
Wow.
Ray, do they two things. So tell me why you're not allowed to look at them? I'm curious to know why you lay flat, why you kind of make yourself basically kind of disappear.
It's something along the lines of um, going back to ancient Hawaiian uh, history and politics, where the usually the night marchers is led by a king, and you're not supposed to talk, or the normal folk are not supposed to talk or interact with the king. So it
Gotcha.
kind of comes down from that. Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
and so there are penalties, so to speak, if you interact with the king that you're not supposed to, including up to death, I guess.
Wow.
So it's kind of comes down from that even as night marchers, if you interact with them, then you are liable to suffer the wrath of the king.
Yikes.
Wow.
Is that something that is on just on the island of Oahu that this particular effective happens, or is it on the other islands as well?
It's on the other islands as well,
Oh,
so
wow.
not,
Okay.
yeah, not just on Oahu. And I think it may be even more prevalent on some other islands that are less populated.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Perhaps like Lanai, that would probably be a good one.
Yeah.
I heard Mari. Oh, I said that right. I heard that it's the popular over there too, in that area as well. So, with the Morgan's Corner now, that is like Hawaii's haunted location. What can you tell us about Morgan's Corner?
That's another legend that I've heard since I was young, also. And so it's when I was like in high school, it was a spot that we would go to scare our girlfriends. Um, it was known kind of, I guess different towns have different locations where you would drive your girlfriend out there, to get her a little bit spooked out or things like that. So and it was something I went as a teenager to get out to park there late at night, to get out and see if we experienced anything. And though I didn't explicitly remember seeing anything, the whole environment is very, because it's a very dark and remote area. It
Hmm.
was I felt a very uh, that environment was very rich with possible historical things that happen. You kind of feel the energy of that area. So
Hmm.
that so that's something that we've heard of as we grew up, and then eventually, as I did more research into this, so the original story is that there was a house there where there's a Dr. Morgan, and this was in a place called Nuuanu Valley, which
Okay.
also has a lot of history itself,
Hmm.
because that is close to the location of the Pali Lookout, where
Yep.
King Kamehameha had defeated, when he was uniting the islands, he had defeated the Oahu king, and then a lot of the warriors jumped to their deaths, or were forced to their deaths by jumping over into the valley there. So there's a lot of history behind the area. But the Morgan Spooner story is Dr. Morgan, who was a doctor in the 40s or 50s or so, had a house there, and he had a housekeeper who was alone one night. Two escaped convicts were running away from the law. They found the house and they wanted to seek refuge there. So they found the housekeeper and they killed her. And eventually they were arrested. But the myth of that location was passed down, and the story kind of evolved. And the way I heard it when I was a teen was that it was because it's a remote location. There was a couple that drove there, and they parked to make out. The male said he had to, use the restroom, and if the girl could wait for him, so he went out, and she, it was dark, it was late at night, and she was scared, and after a long period of time, he didn't come back, and
Oh
so
boy.
she started to worry, and then she started hearing a dripping sound, like something dropping on the top of the car. And she thought, oh, maybe it's raining. And so she got out to look, and it turned out she saw her boyfriend hung from a tree above the car,
No.
and the dripping was his blood dripping on
Oh
the car.
no.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's the legend that it developed into, and I'm not sure how that happens, but that's what a lot of people in Hawaii think of when you say, okay, Morgan's Corner. And so, it's interesting how the mythology kind of develops and takes on a life of its own
Yeah.
sometimes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And you've investigated there, and you said that it felt very ominous. And what else did you do? It like, did you get an EVP session or anything that maybe might have picked up anything, or what was your thoughts on it?
I did not. I went there just, as teenagers, we wanted to go on a dare to, kind of experience it to see if, anything we could anything came out to us. Um, there's an additional another legend that um, got kind of tied up all in this Morgan's Corner, and that one is there's an electrical utility uh, unit out there, and there's a fence in front of it, and behind it are a series of steps. The legend is if you go over, when you walk down the steps, you'll count something like 10 steps, but when you walk up, you count only nine, like there's a step that's missing or something. So
Oh
that's
wow.
something that we went to try to investigate as as teenagers, and I actually went out there in the middle of the night with some of my friends, but I think we were too spooked to try to climb over a fence and go down a completely dark area. But
Pretty scary.
it was very scary. So while we weren't at the stage where we could have any equipment to measure anything, but
Right.
we did feel that a very spooky atmosphere there when we went.
Bet. It sounds scary, especially the steps. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of questions for the night marchers from Kristen. She says, are they negatively oriented spirits that are angry?
They're not necessarily negatively oriented. Um, they are basically uh, yeah, I don't know what's the word or expression. This is like something they did when they were alive. They escorted the king from a certain area to another area. So they
Mhm.
continued doing that in their death. So I would say, they're neutral for most part. They're not negative or necessarily positive, but they're just continue what they've done in death as they've done in their life,
Right.
possibly because there's a lot of powerful energy surrounding the king, and their mission to escort the king safely through his path.
So they're just more protective than anything else. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds like they're just more protective.
yeah.
That's really cool. I never really knew that.
She also would like to know, can anything be done to help them pass on?
You know, I don't think over the course of, all that time that anything has been developed or figured out to help them pass on. Just because, this has been uh, experienced for hundreds of years, probably. because those kings originally um, ruled around from the 17 to 1800s or so, and it's continued to occur down to today. So, yeah,
Do
I
you
don't think there's a way to have them pass.
do you feel that it's more of an energy imprint, a repetitive energy imprint, or do you feel that they're intelligent spirits? I guess that would make the difference between, for Kristen's question of passing them on. If it's an energy imprint, they can't. It's just a repetitive movement that is not interaction with people per se. Whereas, if it was a spirit, it would, you're talking about the spirits. If you look them in the eye, death could be
Yeah,
experienced.
yeah. So, from the what I've heard, I believe there is some intelligence involved because
Okay.
one one of the things that, as part of the legend, is if if you are found and they notice you on that path, you have if you are of Hawaiian ancestry, you would call out your list of ancestors, and if one of them is one of the warriors in as part of that march, then they can save you
To
and
spare you.
say, "Spare my descendant."
Wow.
So there's some intelligence involved there because they would react depending on if you're a relative or not.
Right. Oh, that makes complete
Interesting.
sense.
Oh yeah, it does. Sis, I'll let you take over from here and see what, because Medium Red, my sister, is a paranormal investigator herself. She works with the Kipper teams as well. So this is really up her alley. So I I'm not an investigator, but I love the paranormal, and I do kind of sneak in sometimes and look at different things, haunted stuff. Um, but I'm going to have her ask some questions too because I know she's just dying to ask me. And
Well,
she's
I'm
been
just
to Hawaii, so
well, I'm just curious as to, what is your most favorite location that you've investigated that, is near and dear to your heart?
So one very um, location that's closest to me is um, there is a place called the Eighth Avenue Haunted House. Uh, and it's close to my heart because I live very close to that location, and it's somewhere that I used to pass every time. And so I am a musician, so sometimes I would play late at night and come home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would pass this house, and it's an old house and 2 story, very worn down, but always I would see in the second floor window, there's always one light that's on 24/7, but you never
Oh,
see
wow.
anybody there.
Uh-huh.
And so I would drive by late at night. I would look up in that window, see that light on, and always wonder, does anybody live there? Because the house is very old and beat
Mhm.
down. But I never see anybody in the yard. I never see anybody up there. And so when I did some investigating, I had found news accounts going back to the 50s where there have been reports of people that used to live there. They reported being attacked by spirits. And
Oh,
this is
wow.
actually in the archives of the newspaper, the Honolulu newspaper.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
so, in doing more research about that, it was surmised that the spirit there was called a kasha, which is a Japanese demon
Mhm.
that something along the lines of they feed on the flesh of live objects or humans or animals.
Humans, animals, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they look for. And so this is close to my heart in the sense that this is a place that's close to where I live, and then I've seen
Mhm.
that house hundreds of times and wondered what's going on there, and to find out that it does have that history, that really spoke to me. So I did incorporate that into one of my podcast episodes.
Oh,
Uh,
neat.
and about five or so years ago, that house was actually knocked down, and a new
Oh,
house was rebuilt there. So, you know, I don't know if that energy
transferred into the new
was
house or not.
Yeah, I would
transferred.
think it would probably.
Right.
Most definitely, I think it would.
If it's
But
attached to the
what do I
land.
know?
Yeah, because I think the ownership changed hands, and now it just looks like a normal house, and there are people living there. So the vibe is not the same when I pass by, but who
Oh,
knows?
I always hate it when a house gets knocked down like that because it's all you always think to yourself like, oh boy, I wish I could just go in and buy the house, and then study and research it and communicate, with the entity and
Yeah,
see what
Mhm.
his
yeah,
their needs are or what's going on or who they were, the research aspect of it. It's incredible.
yeah.
I,
That's what's so interesting because I already felt that from the house without even reading about its history. And
Right.
then to look up its history and that there's been police reports on it, that really kind of cements that the feeling we got when we passed by it. you know.
I do have a question from a young friend that she is Hawaiian, and I think it's like 10 years, she said that she was gone from Hawaii and then she went back. And she was on the beach and she picked up, it was some kind of a starhorse, I think it was. Or, yeah, starfish, a
The
starfish.
starfish. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she brought it back to the States and everything. And she says, weird things was happening after she brought it back. Now, I know that she told me before this, when we first met, she told me that you never bring anything back from Hawaii. Um, is that true? And if so, why is it? Because all the legends that's around it?
Sacred land.
So that's interesting that you mentioned it's a starfish because what we are familiar with is that tourists would bring back lava rocks, and usually it's something if they visit the Big Island because that's where most of the
Black
current
sand.
volcanic activity happens, and the Black Sand Beach. They bring lava rocks home with them, and they notice some strange or weird or scary phenomena happen, and they return it. They mail it back. So there's stories of the uh, Volcano National Park rangers and things receiving boxes of volcanic rock back from people who have experienced strange phenomena because they took the rock with them. Now, I don't know the exact cause, but the volcanoes and the goddess of the volcano Pele is very sacred to the
Right.
Hawaiian people. So, it could be you're stealing, part of the very sacred Hawaiian culture when you take a volcanic rock with you. So, that could be that negative energy that it's like you're taking possession. Uh, the land is sacred and important, and the land is created by volcanic eruptions to create new land. So it's almost like you're stealing land from Hawaii when you do that. So that could very much be
Wow.
cause of some of this negative energy.
Right.
Well, that's what I told her. She probably should send it back to her family. And she was like, I can, and she did, but she was like, I was born and raised there, and then she moved to the United States for college and everything, and she was away for like 10 years, and she thought it'd be okay to bring something back, but
Mhm.
apparently, I guess not. Even though if she was raised
My,
in Hawaii.
my ex-husband did that when we were on a trip one
Um,
time. And, he's like, that was the demise of our relationship. No, it really wasn't. But he did mail it back.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I can totally vouch for that
After that.
myself. So Ray's spot on that because it's true. They said not to do it. They tell you not to do it, and they tell you the stories and the myths and the lore is just like Ray's talking about. And then you go and do it, and of course that's just a little seed in your mind, and all of a sudden things go wrong. You're like, oh nah.
Yeah, better not take that chance because you
Right.
never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Well,
would.
and again, it's just, you wouldn't go into one of our national parks either, I mean, and take something out of that too, I mean, it's just, you're dealing with Native Americans, you're dealing with the Native Hawaiians. It's no different, it's their land, it's their, everything had a purpose and a meaning behind it, and so therefore it's like, leave it in its place. It's there to do something, and
Yeah,
it's meant to be there. So yeah, it's very true.
Exactly. Yeah.
that is. Now with the goddess Pele, are there's any locals that still worship her?
I don't think in the sense of where it's turned into a religion that has very formal or strict doctrine, but they do believe in the goddess and that she has her powers and you don't want to cross her. She's one of the most powerful local Hawaiian goddesses, as evidenced by the continuing volcanic action that occurs even up to recently. The past week, I think there was some activity going on. So
It's
she's
true.
considered.
It came up on Kilauea saying that they've got a tornado, something going on right now. There's like a live video. It just came up when you were talking, Ray.
So she's considered among the most powerful goddesses, Hawaiian goddesses. So they believe in her, they believe in her power, and they pay respects to her. So in that sense, that's where the belief occurs.
Awesome.
Well, I would think that, the island, I mean, you have all that water surrounding the island, and not to mention the Ala Moana that goes straight through. It's such a conduit for paranormal activity and energy. So the island is, in my opinion, very charged, in my opinion, in the visitations that I've had there before.
Yeah, there's certain areas that are more charged than others. So this is really interesting because where I used to work, it's a building in downtown where the business district is, but my coworkers experienced certain feelings, like they would pass through certain offices and feel a bit of a cold air, and when they were working late at night alone or later in the evening, they would hear things like the copier going off but nobody's making a copy. And then there are other instances where the bathroom, the faucets would go on and off by itself. So they actually called in a kahuna, which is a Hawaiian priest, to come and bless the office. So they would come with tea leaves, and they would light candles and have Hawaiian salt, which is supposed to keep away evil spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually did that to bless the office. And I think since then it's been okay. But yeah, there are certain pockets of activity that occur even in office buildings.
Yeah, it's interesting. We we often stayed at the Queen Capulani and made friends with several of the people of the hotel at the time, and they would talk about things that would occur, like seeing entities that walk through the lobby and go straight out to Waikiki Boulevard, and then transgress or transfer back over to Waikiki Beach, because it was very close to Waikiki Beach. So it's really interesting because of that, and they would say it's definitely somebody native that was walking through. They could discern by the shadow effect of the individual that it was somebody that was very native, possibly a chief of something of that nature. But very interesting. And of course that's right near the beach, and it's right by Ala Moana, so it's amazing.
Yeah, I think Waikiki has a lot of those stories. So there is a park that's at the end called Kapiolani Park.
Yeah.
Like, Queen
Mhm.
Kapiolani Hotel
Yeah.
is right near Kapiolani Park. And
Yeah.
Kapiolani Park, in ancient times, I believe it was a battlefield where when King Kamehameha was trying to unite the islands, they landed in Waikiki and battles occurred in Kapiolani Park where a lot of warriors were killed. And so there's a lot of spiritual energy there. So I actually went on a uh, ghost tour of
Oh,
Kapiolani Park
fun.
where uh, the leader, led us to different areas of the park where different things occurred in the past, and then where there's energy. And there was one specific location where he told us, take out your phones and turn on the video, and you may see some auras around in that area. And so we all did that. And well, I'm not clear if I saw anything or not, but there was a really strong energy in that area.
I bet. Well, that's like, and I'm sure you've done it, or like me, I live in Arizona, and everyone goes, "Where do you go for, fun in Arizona, touristy?" I'm like, I don't know, I haven't done my state, but Diamond Head, you can go into Diamond Head into that, the tunnels, and then into the bunker, and I remember doing that, and that just felt like I've never felt that kind of energy before. And I can only ascertain that it's, with the goddess, it has to do with the goddess. It has to do with, the kings and queens, it just was such a cool feeling though to it.
Yeah, Diamond Head is one of the most interesting locations because it's accessible. They can climb up through the passageway into the bunkers and then all the way to the top. So uh, it's old, it's accessible, and it's very close to nature. Especially if you go all the way to the top, the view is
Right.
fantastic. So yeah, there is a lot of strong energy related to Diamond Head.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, Ray, I'd love to hear some of your stories. I mean, I'm just so intrigued that you're, talking about, your research and everything that you're doing with the lores and the myths. I'd love to hear what you have researched and talk about it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
So my the website where you can access the stories is Paranormal Investigations Hawaii.com, or if you search for Paranormal Investigations Hawaii on your podcast platform of choice, Apple iTunes, Spotify, you should be able to find my podcast there. And so I feature like a different urban legend uh, every episode. What I like to do is I do a bit of research. I use that as a background, and then I kind of create my own story on top of that. So I use a character called Harry Wong. He's a paranormal investigator. So he investigates occurrences related to some of these urban legends. And then, I craft a bit of a story on top of it so that it
Wow,
takes
how
you on a
ingenious.
journey. And I try to incorporate, I enjoy watching spooky movies, so I try to incorporate elements of, horror and also humor too, because I also like to laugh, and also I think it kind of takes you on a path between different emotions. So I like to incorporate some humor in the stories too.
Hmm.
So,
Love it. That's incredible. What's your favorite? What would be your favorite episode or your favorite story that you've done?
you know, it's like asking what's your favorite child, I guess, in a sense.
Well, we can do that. I know Christie's.
We can do that.
No, but I did a kind of silly one as a special Christmas story, I guess. It's called the Christmas Menahune. So Menahune are mythical Hawaiian creatures, kind of similar to
No, okay. I was gonna tell you.
you know, like the Irish. They have name escapes me at the moment.
The Fays or the Druids or the
Yeah, it's like the little people.
the trolls.
Yeah, yeah, not like
The
trolls.
hobbits.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
hobbits.
yeah,
Yeah,
like hobbits.
I'm thinking of like Lord of the Rings.
yeah. Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, um, that are mischievous, but they're not evil or anything. They just mischievous.
Mm-hmm.
So little Christmas story involving Menhune, and then I wrote some music to go along with that. So that was kind of a fun episode to do. And
I
I
love how that was
incorporate,
interwoven. That's so cool.
yeah, and I kind of incorporated Krampus into the story.
Oh, I love that too.
So yeah, just a fun little Christmas thing I did a few years back.
I can't wait to hear it. I'm going to have to go onto his podcast and listen now. I love that. That's totally cool.
Yeah, same here. Yes, I did put it into the links or
Good.
Oh,
the
I see it.
link across the bottom and also into the comments. So pixies, that is what Kristen was saying. Pixies,
Pixies, yes.
pixies,
So,
yes.
kind of mischievous little people
Yeah.
who are generally harmless.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pixies can be they can be harmless, tricksters.
Right.
Yeah.
So can hobbits can too, I think. So according to Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So how long have you been doing the podcast, and what got you started in doing the podcast or telling the stories?
So the first episode came out in October 2022.
Oh no, we lost him.
Oh, we
Okay.
might have this for a second.
Yeah.
Gotta
Thanks.
remember,
You
he's
guys still there?
Yeah. Yep. There you are. Perfect. Are you there?
Hello?
Uh-oh.
Yep. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Ray? He froze. I don't think he can hear us.
It's okay. I think you'd be back.
Yeah.
Gotta remember, he's in Hawaii, so that's 5 hours behind Central Time.
Right. Yeah.
So 3 hours behind you. So yeah, it's probably
Just the streaming. It's spinning, so
yes. Massive, yeah, it is massive solar flares tonight. Yeah,
oh yeah, that's true
we can
too.
blame it on that. We just blame it
Yeah.
on.
I was gonna say maybe he should log out and log back in.
Oh, I think I think he's coming back. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry,
And just take this. Oh, it's okay. There we go.
There.
Pick up with my connection. Okay,
Oh, yep. You probably have bad connection. Probably have to log out and then log back in. So
Wait, there he is. Is it working? I kept thinking it was my laptop because every time it would the sound would go off. I'm like, oh no, don't die.
Yeah. Oh, he's still there. Yeah, he's still there.
I was gonna say maybe log out and log back in. We didn't tell him about the chat on the side.
Let's see.
Let's see if you can see the little conversation on the side there. Oh, darn, that was really good. I want to hear more about what he's saying.
Yeah, if you already, I was just writing the same thing. Oh, there. Okay.
There we go. There he is. He's back.
I'm going to
bring him back in.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Yay.
It's okay. It's all good.
Having some weird hiccups with my internet.
Oh,
could be some solar flares out there too. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're just blaming on that. That sounds
right. Sounds good. It's the Pixies.
Exactly. So,
Yes.
so I think I was saying how I've been doing this for about 4 years, and what my inspiration was. I always enjoyed spooky stories, urban legends, and I thought currently the podcast format would probably be an interesting way of getting it out. Um, so as a musician, I'm familiar with recording, and then also I can incorporate music as part of the stories, and so you know that, and because Hawaii there's so many different cultures that live here. They all have shared their own stories and urban legends. So there's a lot to pull from, also.
Wow. Definitely
That's
going
so
to go
cool.
to the website afterwards.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, it's a big departure from going from the IT department to, doing this now full time.
Yeah, yeah. I had my fill of IT, I guess.
I
So
bet.
yeah. Well, I think I got out maybe at the right time now that AI is taking over all the
Oh
jobs.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
it is. Um, because it is such a big part of our lives now, the AI, that it's really hard to differentiate if this is real or not. So
Yeah.
I kind of hate it. But when investigators goes to Hawaii to do investigations or explore or anything, and hopefully they are very respectful of the land, because you should.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
have you encountered a lot of paranormal teams that may come up to you and say, hey, can you help us out on something, on the legends or myths?
I haven't. Um, the the only one that I'm familiar with is, like I mentioned, there's this person. He runs a ghost tour called The Mysteries of Hawaii. His name is Lopaka,
Hmm.
and he's the one who actually went to bless my old workplace.
Oh,
And
cool.
so he's the only one that I've uh, been involved with, in a sense, that has done or been involved with local Hawaii legends and spiritual uh, topics. But yeah, I haven't encountered, maybe someone coming in from somewhere else to investigate. I've seen some videos from several years back when there are people doing that. So I'm not sure if currently anybody's doing active investigations, paranormal investigations here.
It's probably very difficult because of the fact that, the land is so sacred, and there's so many things that, you shouldn't do for the culture, that it's, like even investigating in a cemetery, that's sacred too. That's not like coming to Arizona or Iowa and being able to walk into a cemetery and being able to investigate it. That is sacred, blessed area, and that is like off limits.
Exactly. If you come in from the outside, you may not know the history and the culture, and you could very much get people and or spirits angry
Right.
because you're not doing it respectfully.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Wow. I would love
Very
to.
understandable.
What's that, Chrissy?
I say very understandable.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Exactly. Well, and there's been situations like, I was telling you with, David Wells, when he went to the cemetery, I was telling him that there was a gentleman that kind of designated himself as the mayor or the governor of the property of that cemetery. And I told, David, you should go talk to him because he's very upset, and I know why he was upset, because there's been people that have looted looted that cemetery, or they go in and they have parties, and that's just not the place to do that.
No.
I mean,
Very, yeah,
so
no respect at
disrespectful.
all. Yeah. So in Hawaii, now I have never seen or watched any shows about Hawaii paranormal or legends or anything like that. But now, since I know since you have a podcast since 2022 now, that there would be something. But do you have any TV shows like we have here? Like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, Paranormal Lockdown, etc. Do you have anything that's really famous over there?
Nothing that is just specifically Hawaii based or anything. I believe if you do a search on YouTube, there are people who have done that a while back, but it's something they do themselves, and they videotape it and put it on YouTube. I seem to recall when I do certain research that I found a few of these, but I don't see anything that is more professionally done. I guess in that sense, it's more individuals taking it upon themselves to try to visit these locations and document it.
Do you think it's because the land is so sacred that the ancestors, a lot of people would think, oh, the ancestors would get mad if we expose the islands?
It's something along those lines, in that, like I mentioned earlier, you really have to know and understand the culture and the history, and come into it with respect, rather than just trying to force your way into uncovering these secrets, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Says you need to go over there, and because I know you would be respectful and everything.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been there a number of times. Like I was saying backstage to Ray, ex-husband was in the military at Schofield Barracks in Mililani, lived in Mililani.
Mhm.
And so I've spent a lot of time over there in Oahu, Waikiki, and that area. And then my current husband has had an affinity for Maui, so we'd go to Maui a lot. So, and I've been to the Big Island and seen Kilauea, which, again, it's very awe-inspiring to see that. It's beautiful, very beautiful. But you can definitely feel, again, being in Kilauea, you can definitely feel exactly what he's talking about, like with Diamond Head, that magnetic charge, that just rumbling, that it literally like just brings goosebumps on your arms and raises the hair up on your arms, to see Mother Nature, but to also know that it's Pele that's doing it. So it's the islands are beautiful. I'm jealous that he gets to live there.
Are there any legends that we have not mentioned yet that you would like to express?
So, in your question of having outside investigators come in, there was an episode of Haunted Collector, which used to be a show that was on Sci-Fi Channel 10, 15 years ago. They did do an investigation of the Iao Theater on Maui. And I did feature that as one of my podcast episodes. But the history behind it is the Iao Theater on Maui it's supposed to be haunted, and the legend is there was an actress who died there. It could be that I don't recall the exact circumstance, or if they even know the exact circumstance, but she may have been an actress who didn't get the role she wanted, and killed herself or died mysteriously. So now supposedly she haunts that theater,
Oh
and
wow.
occasionally people who are in the theater will either see her or feel her presence. And so they did have a show called Haunted Col- Collector
Collector.
come in, and they did do some investigating
Oh
uh,
wow.
of that. And so I kind of incorporated that background of that story into one of my episodes. So I thought, in asking you a question whether somebody outside has come in, it has happened. And I believe when they did that, they didn't just, come in without permission. They got
Yeah.
permission and the blessing of the people who run the theater.
Good.
And it was kind of limited to just that.
Location.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just too touchy, of an area that it's the locals don't like it. Let's put it that way. And I respect that and agree 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Did you have another question, Chrissy?
Um, only thing I just like to know is, if there's anything else any other legends that we haven't spoke of yet, because I know there's more out there. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's something I just want to know.
there's a lot more. That's another reason why I chose this, because there's just so many different stories and urban legends here that will make great episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have some ideas for the future. Um, One of the ones that we do hear a lot, and that I did put into one of my podcast episodes, is there was a drive-in theater that's kind of near where I live the drive-in theaters in Kahala,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called the Wildlife Drive-in Theater. It's no longer there, as unfortunately most drive-in theaters are gone. But
Yeah.
when it was there's been a legend that if in the women's bathroom, if a woman when a woman goes into the women's bathroom, they'll see someone. Um, they'll see the back of her head, and she's there, doing something. But when they look, she does not have any legs. She's just floating there.
Oh wow.
So, and then the woman turns around, and she has no face. So she's known as the faceless woman of Wildlife Drive-In. So
Wow.
that they tore down the drive-in, and actually right next to the drive-in is an actual graveyard. So I believe the story is the spirits from the graveyard are, or at least one, are haunting the drive-in.
That
And so
makes sense.
this is a relatively well-known story here too.
Wow. That is so cool.
I heard of the White Lady of Hawaii that is supposed to be somehow associated with the goddess Pila. So I don't know. That's one thing I heard that a long time ago. Is there anything on the White Lady, or is that just something somebody told me wasn't true?
So that is another legend, and
Oh, is it?
do people do have reported seeing this white lady, and it's reported that it could be like a form of Pele, Madame Pele, and
Oh.
could be a young or old woman, usually seen on a full moon, and so it's thinks that maybe it could be a form of Madame Pele who's longing to find her love, something along those lines. So this is a story that I've not really researched uh, deeply, but it is another common one that many people have heard.
Wow.
Well, that's
Very
like the pink. They call it the Pink Palace, the hotel. I did a tour with them, the historical tour, and they kind of wove some ghost stories into it. But this is way back when, and I know they talked about the same thing, a woman in white in that hotel too, and could be Pele, a version of Pele. And they even actually said the same thing that Ray did, that it could be just a young version of Pele trying to find the love of her life, find her man. So it's really interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. We only have a few minutes left, right? So, do you have anything else you want to like plug in for yourself besides, your podcast, your music? We can find it all on the Paranormal Live. Oh no, Paranormal Investigation Hawaii. Correct.
Yes, correct. So, um, I guess there's other stories that I've incorporated into the podcast, which I haven't touched on. There's just so many. So I would encourage you to just go on, find a story that sounds interesting to you, and just listen to it. Um, and all of them have roots in stories that I've heard. Um, and so, like I mentioned, I craft a little story on top of it, and make it interesting, entertaining, and hopefully it will make you think, make you want to do more research into the origins of it. And I very much enjoy this area because it's there's so much in the unknown that's so fascinating. Um, and it's almost universal when everybody has heard some story in their own town, um, and wondered, how did this start? What does this mean? Um, and what's out there? What is the unknown that's out there, and for us to discover.
Exactly. Wow. Do you have any new projects that are coming up, or anything that you're working on that you want our audience to know and stay on the lookout for?
So actually, in terms of this podcast, I usually try to do an Halloween episode. Right now, though, I've been super busy on other projects, so I haven't really had the chance to pick a new topic or a new legend to explore yet. But hopefully, I'll have some time in the next few months to do so.
Oh,
Ooh, can't wait.
I
My
know.
favorite
That's
holiday.
interesting.
My favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you and what you are doing. It's wonderful, and keep doing it. And hope the audience will jump over to the website and listen to him and become friends. So,
I want to say thank you, mahalo, and aloha, Chrissy, and medium red. I
Thank
really,
you.
really
Aloha.
enjoy talking to you, and I love to find people who are passionate about this topic. So it's great to have been on your show.
Oh, it
but
was great having you. We'd love to have you back again.
yeah,
Yeah,
anytime you want to come back, you got something new you want to share, you know, please share with us. We would love to hear it.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. In the
And,
meantime,
and also, just a side note, if when you do your next podcast, let Chrissy and I know, and we
yeah,
can put it on, or put the link or whatever into our Within the Cauldron page on Facebook, so that you'll have more people driven towards your podcast.
That would
most
be great. Thank you
yeah,
very much.
yeah,
You're
just let
welcome.
us know. So, um, just stay. We're going to go ahead and close for tonight, but please stay afterwards, after all the credits, I guess you can say.
Yeah, roll the credits. Yeah.
Everybody in the audience, subscribe to Within the Cauldron. jump on over to our sister channel, Behind the Witch's Veil. Go to the Facebook pages and also go to meetingredaz.com. If she would love to give you a reading.
Thank
And
you.
just stay blessed, everybody. And
Thank
you
you.
have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Right.